Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's workshop. My name is Becky, and today we're going to talk about how to optimize your website for maximum conversions. We're going to walk through exactly what it takes to turn more of your website visitors into real leads and booked jobs so you can keep your phones ringing and the crews running. Scott's going to walk us through the training.
Thanks, Becky. Hi, everyone. Great to see you all here. So today we're going to be talking about how to optimize your website for maximum conversion in your lawn or landscape business. While some people are still getting logged into the training here, I'd love to engage with you who've already logged in the chat. Let me know what type of service you guys provide. Are you lawn care? Are you landscaping? Do you do primarily hardscaping? Are you more on the maintenance side? Are you completely full service? Do you provide some other type of service? Maybe a plumber snuck in here. Always good to have that two-way interaction. So just type in your company type into the chat. While you guys type that in, I'm going to go ahead and open up my screen here. Okay, perfect. So we've got a great workbook that we put together for this that will visually walk you through the key conversion elements, as well as some example websites you can use as a point of reference. If you'd like that, just comment workbook here in the chat for me. That's kind of my signal, whether you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, or maybe you're here live with us on Zoom. Just comment workbook and we know to send you the link to make sure you get access to that. For those of you on this with us live, Mark or Becky is going to drop that link into the chat for everybody. So you can just click that and grab it there too. Okay, excellent, fantastic. So every time I do one of these sessions, I try to run it through this lens of our growth engine for lawn and landscape companies. How do we make sure that your business is in constant state of momentum and accelerated growth? And there's really three key pillars that we focus on for this. Number one is we've got to drive leads, right? We've got to make sure we got new leads coming into the business on a consistent basis. Enough leads to keep the phones ringing, the schedule booked out, and the business booming. But in addition to that, we've got to make sure we're maximizing conversion. And we've got to maximize conversion on a lot of different fronts. Converting the visitor into a lead, converting that lead into a job, converting that job into a one-time customer, converting that one-time customer into a repeat buyer that uses you again and again, and then also refers you to others. We've got to drive leads, and then we've got to maximize conversion on those leads. And then we need to optimize the results, right? We really need to have the tracking dialed in so we know how much are we spending on marketing, how many leads are we generating, what's our average cost per lead, and what is actually generating the leads, what's generating that ROI or your return on investment, so that we can optimize and sort of reallocate your funds to those things that are generating the best results. So big picture, that's what we have to focus on, how we're driving leads, how we're maximizing conversion, and how we're really optimizing that return on investment. Today, we're going to be focused predominantly on the conversion side of the equation, specifically around your website. We've got your website, your reputation, the way you're leveraging automation will play all into that. But today is going to really be around the website specifically. We'll talk a little bit about marketing automation as well. A couple housekeeping tips as we get started here. If you're here with us live, we appreciate you guys investing your time to be here now. Let's close out the other tabs. Let's close the door. Let's give this our undivided attention. I promise to give you my latest, greatest, best insights on how to generate better results with your online marketing. All I ask is that you give me your full attention. And as I'm going through this stuff, engage with me in the chat. Think about how you're actually going to implement this in your company to get better results and better outcomes for yourself. Quick background before we jump into everything. For those of you I haven't met yet, I'm Scott Coulard with Webster's Landscape Marketing. Our agency has been around for more than 20 years. But before I ever personally got into digital marketing, I actually spent about 6 years out working on the lawn crew, early mornings, summer heat, packed schedules. I know firsthand how demanding the industry can be. When we first started the marketing agency, though, we worked with all kinds of businesses, contractors, dentists, moving companies, industrial companies. But as we continued building marketing systems and refining our process, we saw something really clear. The lawn and landscape companies we worked with were seeing some of the strongest results out of all our clients. So over time, we made the decision to focus entirely on this industry. And since then, we've had the opportunity to work with landscape businesses in a wide range of markets. And we've seen what actually drives profitable growth and consistent lead flow, not marketing fluff, not random trends, not something we read on ChatGPT, but actual strategies that are going to work when there's actual competition in your area. Everything we're sharing today comes directly from those experiences, what we've tested, what we've improved, and what continues to produce results for companies like yours. And through the training today, we're going to share some real world examples so you can see how these ideas apply in practical situations and how they could fit into your own business. And just to give you a little context on who we are as a company, at Webster's Landscape Marketing, we work specifically with lawn and landscape businesses. That's our entire focus. Our mission is to help 100 lawn and landscape companies double their revenue through smarter marketing systems and better lead generation. That's a big part of why we host trainings like this one. We want to share real world strategies and ideas you can actually apply in the business, not just high level concepts or theory that sound good on paper. And if somewhere along the way today you decide, hey, Scott, yeah, I love you're showing me these cool websites and what these websites are doing to convert. I want you to update ours. I want you to help us generate better results. We'd love that opportunity to connect with you on that. And just to be clear, there's absolutely no pressure around any of this. What we'll do is review what you're currently doing from a website and marketing standpoint, identify what appears to be working well, and then just point out a few areas where there might be opportunities to strengthen things or improve performance. I'll personally look at your website and give you very specific recommendations free of charge. From there, if you'd like to work with us on those, great. If not, that's okay too. You'll at least walk away from that conversation with some great action items to improve your website. You can schedule that complimentary strategy session at wslandscapemarketing.com/schedule. You can also just scan that QR code on the screen. It'll take you directly to the scheduling page, and Mark or Becky will drop a link to that in the chat so you can get to there really easy. So let's get into today's session all around how do we optimize for conversion. I do want to start with the latest trends because the digital marketing game is rapidly evolving, it's rapidly changing. We got to be thinking about where things are and then where they're headed over the next couple of years so we can not only generate great results now, but great results into the future too. But first and foremost, number one trend is the transition from desktop to mobile. It used to be when we think about our website, it was all about the desktop computer. Somebody sitting at a computer with a big monitor, going to your website and then deciding where they want to convert. Today, more than 70% of your visitors, and we look at analytics on this, are actually coming on the mobile phone. So we have to make sure that thinking about the website predominantly from a mobile experience. Your customers going to ChatGPT, they're going on Google, and they're searching for the recommended lawn and landscape company near me, and they're clicking into the website. We have to recognize not just thinking about the desktop, we're absolutely thinking about how easy it is to convert on the phone. Number two is speed and performance. And more than ever, your website has to be loading extremely fast. Statistics will tell us if it takes more than just 2 seconds for your website to load, you're going to lose that traffic. They're going to hit the back button and go to the competition. So, really looking at site speed metrics, how quickly the website loads on desktop and then especially on mobile is going to drive your effectiveness. Number three is contact and lead capture optimization. So if we don't have click to call on mobile, if we don't have the ability for them to receive an instant email response confirmation after submitting that contact form, which we'll be talking about in more detail, if we're not making it easy for them to convert in the way they want to convert, they're going to go elsewhere. So you want to be aware of these trends. I put all these trends into that workbook if you want to drill down on them or look at the sources. Number five is reviews and trust factor. Before anybody calls your lawn and landscape company, they want to know, have you worked with other people? What's the review sentiment? What are people saying about you in the marketplace? So making sure you've got positive reviews on Google, Angie, and on the various sites that are prevalent in your marketplace. Number six is video and visual. I know as lawn and landscape companies, we don't think people really watch videos. They're just going to click and call or maybe look at some of the pictures. But there's a certain type of buyer in today's market that actually wants to see a video. They want to go deeper with the content. And if you're the type of company that's talking about the projects you do, talking about why someone would use you versus the competition, you give them a reason to stay on your website longer. You give them a reason to know, like, and trust you. And that's a massive conversion factor. And then number seven, and this will be the last trend I really want to focus on today, is AI. We all know, just type AI into the chat. If you've been seeing ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all these platforms coming into the marketplace, if you're not leveraging AI at some level in your conversion process, in terms of how you let people call into your office and maybe speak with AI at the beginning, or how they chat with your organization, you're going to start to fall behind. Just going to pull up the chat here. Excellent. Megan said, new garden design business. Excellent. Welcome, Megan. Okay, so those are some of the big trends. As I start to talk about website conversion optimization for your lawn and landscape company, I want to emphasize that your website is the hub. Regardless of all the other marketing you do, if you do SEO, if you do paid ads, you do display ads, you do banner ads, if you've got word of mouth, if you sponsor the local little league team, all of those things create awareness for your company. But before they convert into a customer, they're going to wind up on your website, right? And if your website isn't built to convert them, if it doesn't convert at a healthy level, all the other marketing you do is significantly less effective. So it's really mission critical that we think about that website experience, again, desktop and mobile, and then optimize for it because that's going to absolutely make you more money and give you the ability to grow more effectively. Quick scenario breakdown on this, a little bit of math just to think about it logically. Let's say we're looking at a landscape installation company. You've had your website up for some time, it gets some organic traffic, you do some advertising on other channels. Let's say you average about 200 visitors per month to your website, and then your conversion rate from visitor to a lead is 5%. And that's kind of the norm, unfortunately. As we study a lot of landscape companies, if you don't optimize your website for conversion, 5 to 7% or less than that is kind of the norm. So let's just say it's 5%. So from 200 people hitting your website, that would mean just 10 of them turn into leads. Assuming you get a 30% lead to customer close rate, that means those 10 leads turn into 3 booked jobs. And let's say your average transaction value, your average ticket is 15 grand. That would be 45 grand in revenue on those 200 visitors to your website. So that's not really very good, not very good value. You can't really grow and scale a sustainable business with those numbers. And this is why conversion optimization is so valuable. If we sort of flip the scenario and say, okay, let's look at one thing, one little lever and change that. Let's just increase the conversion rate on the website to 15%. And I promise you, with the strategy I'm going to be teaching you in today's session, there's no reason your website shouldn't convert higher than 5%. I'll show you a number of examples of lawn and landscape companies converting well. But let's just say we increase from 5% visitor conversion to 15% without it spending any more in marketing, without driving any more traffic. We still have the 200 visitors to your website, but that 15% conversion rate would mean we have 30 leads instead of just 10. Let's keep your sales close rate at 30%. That means we have 9 booked jobs instead of just 3. Keep the average transaction value at 15 grand. And I know it's going to vary a lot depending on whether you're lawn care focused, design, build, maintenance. But with this example, it means we generate 135,000 in revenue versus 45,000. And what we have to do is make sure we focus on converting at the highest level possible, because when we do, it makes all of our other marketing so much more effective, like we see here. So, why is getting your website built to convert important to you guys? Maybe you want to get more leads. Maybe you want to double your leads. A lot of times, what we see for clients is we'll actually launch a new website for them, and their website will stay the same for the next month or two until the SEO, the search engine optimization, gets the website up to the top of Google. But they still get a really good boost to their leads in month one because the website converts at a way higher percentage of those visitors than the old site did. So let's get into it. What are the factors for you? What are the things you can actually put on your website, change on your website to generate better results and better outcomes? Again, we have that workbook that you can kind of grab and take home with you. I don't want to get into all the minutia of the workbook. I want to hit the 80/20 concept in the talk today. But in that workbook, you've got checklists, you've got examples, you got all kinds of data you can dive into later. Without giving you a 5-hour course on how to optimize your website for conversion, there's some very specific things. We'll just touch on a few of them here. For example, how do you speak to your customer avatar? So your customer gets to your website because they have a problem. The lawn isn't being maintained, the landscaping project isn't getting done. Whatever it is, they have a problem they need solved. And what most of us do when it comes to messaging on our website is we'll talk about the technical jargon, we'll talk about the services we provide, we'll talk about why we're great. To be effective, we want to make sure we're speaking to that customer in terms of the problems they're facing. Just reframing the way you write the content on your website can have a huge impact on how well it converts. Using real, authentic images, personality, pictures of your team, videos of the real people within the company. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. So look at your website, does it have that personality and authenticity? Using multimedia, again, have a website with a video that welcomes them, talks about the different services. When they get to the lawn care page or the landscaping page or the lawn treatment page, there's a video that talks about what that is, the problems that usually drive them to that page, and why they should connect to your company to solve that problem. You can also leverage social proof. So showcase the reviews you have on Google, on Angie, on the different sites, and leveraging those on your website. Make sure you've got calls to action, special offers, incentives. Make sure your website is mobile friendly again and mobile optimized with a click to call function that makes it real simple for them. Make sure it runs really fast. Put live chat on your website. Again, in the workbook, we got all kinds of details, and you can go to the nth degree with it. All these little things, all these little adjustments to your website will have an impact on how it converts from visitor to lead. But really, I want to dive into 4 key strategies I want you to focus on when you think about what you need to change on your website to generate better conversions. I call these the big 4 conversion levers, and this is where we're going to spend most of our time today. Number one is online scheduling. In today's market, your customers used to just being able to solve their problem without having to call in, without having to submit a form, without having to talk to somebody. That technology exists in today's market. There's a lot of different ways you can implement online scheduling on your website, whether you use your CRM's built-in scheduling like Jobber or Aspire or Service Autopilot, maybe some other third-party tool like Calendly or whatever platform you use, giving people the ability to say, hey, I want someone to come out. It looks like you got availability tomorrow at 3. Let me pick a time and set my contact details. That removes almost all the friction for them. And if you can get yourself mentally to a place where, yeah, I'm going to put that out there, even if every once in a while I've got to call and say, hey, we don't actually have that availability. I need to reschedule you. By giving them the ability to schedule online, you're taking away the need for them to keep hunting. And what we find with a lot of lawn and landscape companies we talk to about this is they're kind of resistant to it. They want their phone number because they want someone to call the office. They want to understand the problem and then schedule the time based on availability. But the reality is, if you can give the customer the option to schedule online and they want to do it that way, in their mind, they kind of mentally check that off for the day. If you kind of put yourself in the shoes of your customer, think about the problems they're facing. They got a problem, they need it solved. They're worried about having to take off work or schedule someone who doesn't show up. So they're going to keep pulling up websites, calling lawn landscape companies. And if you can't schedule them right then and there, they're going to hang up, go back to Google and find someone else. But if you do give them the ability to schedule right then and there, even if it's just a soft schedule, they're not heading back. Once they schedule online, even if it's just a soft schedule where they just pick a preferred day and time for your salesperson to come out, they feel like that problem is solved, right? I've scheduled someone to come in tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I can move on with my life. Resist the temptation to avoid this. You could be a couple years ahead or a couple years behind, but that's where things are headed. Number 2 on our graphic here is two-way text messaging. I know we all like to optimize for a phone call, but if you had the option right now, a family member or a friend could either call you or text you real quick, which would you choose? I don't know about you, but I choose text because it's easy, it's quick. If I need to get on a call, fine, that's great, but for the most part, it can be handled via text. And your customer in today's market wants to just be able to either schedule online or just send a quick text message, have a couple of quick questions answered, and then move forward. So having a little bubble on your website where they can start a two-way text message with your company, having a couple questions answered, get scheduled in, that's a massive conversion opportunity on your lawn and landscape company website. Number 3 is the same as it's always been, having a phone number in the top right corner. Some people do want to call, so don't make them hunt for that phone number. Don't make them peck around your website. Put the number in the easy to find place on mobile. Again, where they can just click that with their finger and it calls you right away. On your desktop site, having the number at the top right-hand corner makes it really easy for them. And then number 4 is how you actually write and structure the content on your pages. Most lawn and landscape websites get this really wrong, and it's costing them leads they don't even know they're losing. Here's the thing. When someone lands on one of your service pages, they've already decided they need that service. They're not in research phase anymore. They're in the ready to buy phase. So your content needs to speak to that. Not here are the benefits of lawn mowing, right? They already know the benefits. They want to know how you do it. What makes your process different? What questions does a ready to hire customer have that you can answer better than your competitors? And then beyond just the words, there's a right way to structure a page and a wrong way. We're going to dive deeply into that in a little bit more detail later. including how to use call out sections to spotlight your differentiators in a way that really stops people mid scroll and just gets them to pick up the phone and reach out to your company. So those are some of the key factors. Again, we're going to get into specific examples now, but hopefully you're tracking along with me and this is making sense. The key things you want to think about to optimize for conversion. So this here is a company called Hunter Springs Landscape Artisans we work with, and I'm going to walk you through what they're doing right. That way we go from abstract to real, right? We're looking at live examples here. Hunter Springs is based in Syracuse, New York. A couple of things when you pull their website up, really easy to see what they do. Landscape design in Syracuse, New York. Really clear buttons, click to call them directly, and a little sublink to start a quote. Speaking to the customer, what they're looking for, the problems they may be looking to solve, hitting their key buttons, calling out that they serve both residential and commercial, and then that photo there is chosen very intentionally. This particular project shows almost all of their services in one shot. You've got the patio, the outdoor fireplace, the retaining wall, the water feature, steps, walkway, the plantings. Stock photos don't convert visitors into leads nearly as well as real photos like this one, real photos of your projects or the team. So this is an example of a website that converts really well. And so if you look at the data here, we track this real closely for the clients we serve. You can see here they spent 4,500 in monthly investment. That's their management fee plus their ad spend. How many leads? They got 175 tracked on a monthly basis. You divide that out and it comes out to about $25.86 per lead. Some of them are calling in, some of them are coming from Google Ads, some of them are coming straight from Google Maps. This is what's possible when you've got a great website with the traffic behind it. We're driving leads through organic, through paid, through local service ads, but we're also converting them at the highest level possible. Another example I wanted to pull up is a lawn and landscape company based in the Pasadena, Maryland market. You'll see a trend here: personality and authenticity. The phone number and get an estimate buttons are very clear. They're a garden center in addition to a landscaping company, so they have the added need to promote their bulk products alongside the landscaping services. This is their main landing page, also known as the home page. When it comes to writing that homepage of yours, you always want to speak to two things: what you do and where you do it. What you do and where you do it. So you can see here sections for their maintenance, enhancements, and hardscaping side. Then an additional section to feature the bulk materials. A little further down the page, we mention the main areas they serve and then link off to the rest of their individual city pages. I show these examples because I want you to see there's probably some difference between your current website and these websites that I'm showing you. And again, you can do this stuff. It's not super hard to implement these strategies on your website, and they're going to have a big impact on your conversion. So in their case, about 4,600 investment in services, the SEO, website management, paid search management, plus ad spend. Divide that out by their 626 leads generated, and it comes out to about $7.32 per lead. Good examples there of the real data in the real world, how this works when you track the conversion. And if you look at the visitors divided by the lead flow, this site converts really well from visitor to lead. Another really cool example is a lawn and landscape company in Minneapolis, St. Paul market. Really awesome photos of their projects. Phone number, easy to find. Get a free design consultation stands out. Here's something I want you to notice when I pull up the website. Look at this navigation menu that I have here. If you count how many service pages they have, every single one of those pages, patios, fire pits, outdoor kitchens, retaining walls, each of the individual services, they're built into individual detailed pages. Let's take the patio page, for example. It's not written with fluff like we're the best landscaping company in town, but actual specifics instead. So their design process, the materials they use, their warranties, what makes them different, links to related services. So a customer who came in looking for a patio starts thinking about the phase two steps like lighting, maybe a seating wall. That depth of content is going to do two things at once, right? Number one, it's helping them rank on Google. And then number two, it's converting visitors who are already ready to buy. We're going to get into this a little bit more deeply and exactly how to do that in a little bit later. If we dive down on their data here, 5,200 invested, about 146 leads tracked. That's $35.94 per lead. If we look at these sessions divided by the leads, very good conversion for that particular website too. All right. And so I told you I was going to try to make this practical, show you a bunch of real world examples of companies actually implementing these exact strategies and how it converts. because again, most lawn and landscape companies, like I've said, convert about 5% or less. And if you can get that to 10, 15, 20, now you can spend more on marketing. Now you can be more aggressive with your advertising because you're going to convert more leads into book jobs. And then digging into this a little bit deeper from a different angle, we want to start by making sure the website is speaking to your customer based on who they are. We all know who our customers are, right? We know their fears, their frustrations, their pains. We know what their goals and desires are. And so we can craft the messaging on the website that's going to convert them from a lead into a book job into a sale. And I showed you a bunch of examples of that. We want to be real and authentic, which means when they get to the website, it's not just stock imagery, it's pictures of the owner, pictures of the team. Ideally, it's you or your main crew member welcoming them and answering any questions they had. Pictures of the trucks, pictures of the office staff. Be real and authentic. That's going to go a long way on how you convert. Showcasing social proof. You may have a lot of reviews on Google, but if you're not bringing that onto the website and showing them, hey, we've got X number of 5-star reviews, our average rating is this, you're missing an opportunity to be really compelling on the website. If you can get customer testimonials, that's extremely powerful too. Again, phone number in the obvious place, online booking, the ability to click that button and actually schedule. In this example here, this is the soft schedule I was talking about, so people can just pick a preferred date and time. You also want that two-way text messaging, a little pop-up that's text us to start a two-way conversation. And what's really cool is we can put some automation on the back end of that. So you don't have to have somebody on standby necessarily. They can get sent a message. Hey, saw you texted us. Do you have any questions? Absolutely. We can schedule a time. And then the automation is smart enough now to carry those conversations through to an appointment or just flag that they actually need to speak to somebody. Again, make sure the website is mobile friendly. Make sure that it's click to call. When somebody clicks the little call now button, they're not having to retype the number. That's going to kill your conversions. It should be going straight to calling in when they click that on the phone. Your website, again, should be written to convert. Let's take a deeper look on that aspect in the perspective of this outdoor kitchen page. And we'll chat about how its content is written to convert. First up, the content speaks to a ready to buy customer. It's not explaining why someone should want an outdoor kitchen. Again, if they made it here, they already know that. Instead, it's answering questions that they actually have at this stage. You know, what materials do you use? Who handles the gas and water lines? How does the design process work? Those are the details that's going to close the deal for you guys. And second, watch how the page naturally leads them deeper. Someone who came looking for an outdoor kitchen is now reading about seating walls, fire pits, landscape lighting. That's not pushy. It's just smart. You're meeting them where they're at and showing them what's possible, starting to speak to those phase 2 items. And then third, notice these little call out sections that break up the page really naturally. Instead of burying everything in paragraphs, you want to use these specific differentiators to get their own special highlight sections. The walkthrough after a project completion and when your check in. There's a call out for a free design plan, a call out for the warranty coverage, a call out for 3D rendering option. These are the things that make a customer think, okay, this company is different, and then they're going to pick up the phone and call you. Calling out your differentiators like this can be the difference between somebody scanning your page, bouncing back to Google and hiring your competitor, and then picking up the phone and calling you guys. So I've got a bunch of ideas and checklist form in the workbook for you, so you can go deeper on this. A bunch of things you can grade your website through to say good, bad, or indifferent. Here's where there's room for improvement. The other big thing I want to talk about in today's session as it relates to conversion is marketing automation. I would be doing you guys a disservice if I talked about your website and didn't talk about leveraging some type of automation on the back end to improve conversion. Because most of you, and I'd encourage you to look at your website after this, most of you only have 2 conversion factors. They can call the office or they can submit a form, and that's pretty much it. Sometimes you might not even have 1 conversion factor. What we found is that 50 to 60% of inbound leads fail to close from lead to sale. And if it's a website contact form, it's like 90% don't close from lead to sale. Why is that? It's because leads you don't follow up with in 15 minutes or less go cold. And really in today's market, it's more like 5 minutes or less. If they submit that website contact form or they call the office and they don't get a live answer, they're hitting the back button. They're going to the competition, calling someone else, booking on their website, starting a chat over there, and then you've lost that opportunity. The other really important factor is a lot of these customers aren't necessarily ready to book right now. You need to follow up with them 5 to 7 times. You need to have a little bit more follow through on the back end. And today's customer, and I've talked about that again and again, would prefer to engage via text message versus an inbound phone call. And you're trying to force them to call into the office. So the solution we have is we can leverage automation so that the minute the form website gets filled out, that contact form, instead of waiting for your team to see that it came through and call the customer, that delay is always going to be way too long. We can use automation. So the minute someone submits that contact form, they get a call, they get a text message. We can set it up so the call can actually automatically ring to your office. So it's almost like you're receiving an inbound call. You press one to connect, and then that automatically calls the customer. And now your office staff is triggered to have a conversation. They've got to stop what they're doing because there's an actual customer on the line. Or a text message that automatically goes out and says, "Hey, Bob, saw you filled out the form on our website. Is there anything I can help you with?" And they're like, "Yeah, actually, I've got a lawn care issue. I was trying to schedule the time." Awesome. We can definitely help you with that. Here's a link where you can schedule a time that works for you. That technology exists right now. And if you don't have it in place, you're going to be missing out. Your customers are going somewhere else. It makes every lead that you generate more valuable. And so our solution for this is we build custom automations for clients. It's the entire flow. So from that initial lead to a booked job to review request, repeat client to referral, all built into one system. And it's not just about responding faster, it's about owning the entire customer journey from the moment they raise their hand all the way through becoming a repeat and referral client. And we can integrate with most dispatch platforms you're already using, whether it's Aspire, Service Autopilot, Jobber, QuickBooks, or something else. This is something we configure, optimize, and implement for the clients we work with. Because when that automation is dialed in, again, your conversion rates are going to go up, your cost per lead is going to go down, and then the profitability increases across the board. So let's apply this to your business. If you're investing the time to watching this training, to understand how to improve conversion, to understand where things are headed with AI, and some of the new things you can do with tweaking your website and with automation to follow up on the leads you generated. I've given you the workbook. I've given you a full checklist of the things you want to look at. I've talked about the big four. Again, online scheduling, two-way text messaging, phone number in the correct positioning on the website, and then write your website content to convert. I'd love for you to come up with your 3 action items, out of all the things we covered, what are the 3 easiest things you can execute? I'd love if you guys would just take a minute, think through that, and type anything that comes to mind into the chat for me. Excellent, Megan. Phone number positioning, that's one of the easiest to do, and that can definitely improve your conversion. Excellent. Thanks for sharing. All right. And I want to encourage you, if you'd like help with this is what we do. We love conversion optimization. We love getting into the weeds on the specifics of how to convert more of the leads you generate into sales, and then how to drive more leads through the pipeline so you can generate more sales, keep your schedule booked out, and then keep your business booming. If you guys would like some help on this, our next step would be to schedule that assessment. And again, this is a complimentary assessment. You can schedule by calling 585-497-3448 or click the link here in the chat. Marker Becky will drop in. That is wslandscapemarketing.com/schedule. And what we'll do is we'll actually do a full assessment of your current website, the conversion factors. We'll run your conversion through the paces, so to speak. We'll be able to tell you, kind of as a mystery shopper, what was the experience. We'll be able to show you how leveraging automation would impact the conversion from all the areas of your business. Again, I'll personally look at your website and actually meet with you to talk through those things and keep it real simple. Again, that's complimentary. We'd be glad to do that for you. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us here today, everyone. If you have any questions, we can stay around for a couple minutes. I'd be happy to answer anything. So, any last questions before we sign off, feel free to drop them into the chat here. Megan asks, are Canva websites a waste of time? Well, that's an excellent question. So we primarily develop on what's known as WordPress. And WordPress is really nice because it allows you to edit all aspects of your website. WordPress makes it really easy to integrate some of those like third-party tools. Like if you have some kind of scheduling system through Jobber. We also like WordPress because it does a good job of tracking your contact forms. So if somebody submits a form, it kind of keeps a really good record of that. To be honest, I'm not super familiar with building websites on Canva. As a team, we use Canva for developing more like graphics and things like that. So not super familiar with it, but in today's market, WordPress is typically the most popular one. So, but really, you want to just make sure you cover whether it's a Canva website, whether it's a WordPress website, you just cover the things we talked about today. So make sure you have pages for each of your services. Don't write fluff content on the pages, write about what you actually do. Make sure the phone number is in the right spot. People can pick up the phone and call you. And if you take care of some of those base things, a Canva website can convert, a WordPress website can convert. But that's an excellent question, Megan. All right, perfect. So again, I appreciate you guys' attention. I appreciate you engaging with us in the chat. Looking forward to helping you take your lawn and landscape company to the next level. Tune in next month. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about the marketing automation side. We'll send out emails about that. So keep an eye out for that. Really appreciate everyone's time. We'll see you again real soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.